We're going to be seeing some scenic views and also seeing terrible choices on 70 westbound. Come on, let's go! Alright everyone, today we're going to be doing the other direction of US Highway 70. We're going to be doing US 70 westbound. And oh boy is it worse sign than 70 eastbound. As you can see here, there's at least one sign from 5 of the 7 states that these states make terrible choices on US Highway 70. But in the contrast, we are going to get to see some cool city skylines along with some beautiful scenery. So let us get started with 70. But first, you're watching the TheDerpHog, where I make highways content on all sorts of different topics. If you've been enjoying it, be sure to hit that like button. And if you've been really enjoying it, be sure to smash that subscribe button so you're notified on all future videos. And if you really want to help out the channel, become a member today, where you get custom cool emojis, early access to future videos, along with one free extra request per month. And if you don't want to become a member, you can always just pay $3 for a intersection request in future videos. Those highways will be listed down in the description below, and I'll make sure to shout you out when that video releases. So let's get on with the highway. As you can see here, this is the map of US Highway 70 as it runs from Globe, Arizona, all the way over to Atlantic, North Carolina. And in today's video, we're going to be starting in Atlantic and heading west towards Globe. So with that, we're talking about westbound US 70. So we begin here in Atlantic, where we have a cool US 70 west shield. But sadly, this is no longer there in current street view, as this is from 2015. As the current 70 shield might have gotten blown away by a hurricane or something. Our first major junction on US 70 is North Carolina Highway 12, which is also known as the Outer Banks National Scenic Byway. I'll have to take a look at this route one day, because it is pretty interesting. Our first mileage time, we get Beaufort on the top line at 26 miles away, and Morehead City is our primary from 29. Here in the Beaufort area, we're meeting with North Carolina 101 here, and US 70 is going to be heading west towards Morehead City still. Next mileage time, we get New Bern now as our primary from 40 miles away, which definitely is the correct choice. And here we are, meaning the road that will take you over to North Carolina 58, being signed for Atlantic Beach and Fort Macon, while 70 West is now being signed for New Bern still. On the outskirts of Morehead City, we're meeting with North Carolina Highway 24, the longest state highway here in North Carolina. That will take you over to Fayetteville and Charlotte, while 70 is going to be heading west toward New Bern. Our next mileage time, we get New Bern as our primary from 29 miles away. Personally, I like to also maybe see like Kinston or Goldsboro as well, because we're only 30 miles from New Bern at this point. And then the next mileage time, we do get Kinston as now our new primary from 52 miles away, which I think is an alright choice. It's where we meet US 258, and it's also a pretty sizable city here in eastern North Carolina. Here we are meeting with US Highway 17, and 17 and 70 are going to be concurrent with it as we head toward Kinston. Here is where 17 splits off from US Highway 70 as it's being signed south for Jacksonville, North Carolina. Our next mileage time, we now get Goldsboro as our primary from 42 miles away, so that is awesome. In Kinston, though, we're meeting with US 258 here, and 258 are going to be concurrent with us. Our next mileage time, we get Raleigh. We get Raleigh as our primary from 78 miles away. This is totally awesome, NC. This deserves a rare W. I hope this stays up. And it does, because when 258 splits off from us, we are now also still getting signed for Raleigh. Wow, NC. Well done. You know how to sign your capital. Here on the Goldsboro bypass, or current Interstate 42, we're going to be following that route, while proper 70 will be heading into Goldsboro. And we're still getting signed for Raleigh. Here are meeting with US Highway 13, getting signed for Goldsboro and Greenville, the two G cities. Now we're meeting with US 117 along with Interstate 795, which gets signed for Goldsboro, Wilson, and Wilmington. And this is where current, or the Goldsboro bypass portion of Interstate 42 ends, as 70 proper is marching back into us. And this is known as the Smithfield bypass, as the bypass is being signed for Raleigh, and we're getting signed for Selma and Smithfield. Here's one of my own pictures in the Smithfield area, and it's 70 meaning Interstate 95 that's being signed north for Wilson. Prefer to see Richmond or Rocky Mount instead. 75 South is being signed for Benson. No, that should be Fayetteville. While 70 West is now getting signed for Selma and Raleigh, which are good choices. Here in the Selma area, remained with US 301 and North Carolina 96, and the southern terminus of North Carolina Highway 39. And our next mileage sign, again my own picture, has Raleigh on the bottom line at 29 miles away. Well done, NC Dot. And here we are on current 70, as current 70 is actually going to be exiting here on 326B, as 42 is going to be continuing northwest of here towards Interstate 40 and North Carolina 540. Here on Business 70, or current 70, remaining with North Carolina 42 as it's being signed for Wilson in the distance. And then after going through Clayton, 42 splits off from us as it's being signed west for Fuquay, which definitely is the correct choice. Here we are in the Gardner area, remaining with Interstate 40 as it's being signed west for Raleigh, which is definitely the correct choice because it is faster to get to downtown Raleigh from here than to stay on 70. While East 40 gets signed for Benson and Smithfield. I don't know how I feel about that. Yes, I know Benson should not be on Interstate 40, but here's the thing, who's going to be taking 40 east just to go back southeast when you're coming from southeast North Carolina? So, there is direction of 70, what would you sign for Interstate 40? Please let me know in the comment section below, because I'd love to figure that out with you guys. Like I said, we're also getting signed west for Gardner now. Here's my own picture of North Carolina 50 meeting with US Highway 70 as we head towards downtown Raleigh. And here's a couple reassurance shields for both 70 and North Carolina Highway 50. And here's my own picture of 70, 401 and North Carolina 50. And hey, look at that. Guess what's on 70 and 401? A city limit sign for Raleigh. Why can't you do that on Interstate 87, NC Dot? Why? Here in the Raleigh area, still remaining with Interstate 40 once again at at exit 298. And as we're heading into Raleigh, we get one awesome view of the Raleigh skyline here. This is like amazing. And here's a picture of downtown Raleigh, which I definitely do recommend if you ever come to the Raleigh area. And here's where 70 and North Carolina 50 splits off from US 401 as we're now getting signed for RDU Airport and the Research Triangle Park. Interesting. We are arming with Interstate 440, and sadly we do not get any control cities here, but 440 does. So we'll have to see what we're signed for on 440. And for my own picture, we are being signed for Crabtree Valley and Durham. I mean, we're already in the Crabtree Valley, so I don't need to see why it's being signed there. But Durham is definitely a correct choice for 70 West. But I'd definitely change this Crabtree Valley for a town North Carolina 50 goes to. Here is where North Carolina 50 splits off from US Highway 70 as we're now getting signed west for Durham. On the outskirts of Raleigh, we mean with the Raleigh Outer Loop, Interstate 540, and it just gets two Kentucky trimmings. The reason is because for some weird reason, NC Dot decided to build this exit into the same exit for Lumley Road and Westgate Road, because going eastbound on 70, these two roads is a separate exit from 540 itself. It's just all very complicated. Now we're meeting with Interstate 885 here, and we're going to compare with it as we head towards Greensboro and Petersburg. I prefer to see Richmond on there, but Petersburg is still a fine secondary and can still be signed. Here we have our first exit request of the video. This one was made by CSX Fan 741, he wanted to see the exit for North Carolina 98 as he had a lot of history with this road and enjoyed being on it when he was in the Raleigh area, so thank you for that request. And then a couple miles up the road, we're now going to be joining with Interstate 85 and US 15 as we're getting signed for Greensboro, which is a definitely correct choice. And here is where we split off from Interstate 85, and for some random reason, NC-DOT is not giving us any control cities for 70 West. That should be Burlington. Just put Burlington on here, NC-DOT. But at the North Carolina 86 junction, we are getting signed for Burlington, which is awesome. Here we are meeting with North Carolina Highway 49 here. And here in Burlington, we're meeting with North Carolina 87 along with North Carolina Highway 100 here. And then now we're meeting with North Carolina Highway 54, as 54 will take you back towards Chapel Hill, and we're going to be continuing west towards Greensboro. In fact, we get a one-liner here with Greensboro as our primary from 12 miles away. Just like the Durham one on the other side, closer to Durham. On the outskirts of Greensboro, we're meeting with Interstate 840 and 785. And sadly, this sign here is not as lovable as going eastbound on 70, but we still get a mention of Raleigh and Charlotte, which again are great choices for 785 and 840 south. Here you are meeting with US Highway 29, and I decided to follow 70's old route prior to 2019 as we were having to go through Greensboro. But before we follow that, we do have an exit request. An exit request for US 220 North made by Ryan Golden. They wanted to see this exit because 220 is actually getting signed north for Roanoke from Greensboro. This is definitely the correct choice and a rare NC.W. And you want to know who else is happy about this sign? Surge, because this is definitely one of the best signs in North Carolina. Sadly, it goes away once 220 joins with 73, but thanks for the request. Anyways, on old US 70, we're now going to be joining with Interstate 40 here as we're getting signed for High Point and Charlotte, which definitely are awesome choices. And here is where Old 70 and US 29 will just split off from Interstate 40 as it's being signed still for High Point and Charlotte. And this is where Old 70 and US Highway 29 met US 220 as it's being signed south for Asheboro. Sadly, we have no direct access to 220 North here. Here we are on Old 70 and US 29 as they're about to meet Interstate 85, and we're also meeting Interstate 73 here, which sadly gets Martinsville. And Old 70 and US 29 are merged into Interstate 85, and this is where these two highways split off, as we're now getting signed for High Point. And I don't know why they still have the 70 West Shield, as it is no longer concurrent with this route. Here we are meeting with Interstate 74 on Old 70 and US Highway 29, as it's being signed for Winston-Salem and Asheboro, which are good choices. And this is where current US 70 merges back into US 29 at North Carolina 68 exit here. And like eastbound, it is also being signed for the National Highway. Anyways, our next mileage time, we get Salisbury in the bottom liner from 30 miles away, and this is like our first mileage time in like a long time. Here we are meeting with US Highway 64, and what? Now we're getting signed for just Charlotte? This is totally awesome! I know that neither 64 or 70 goes to Charlotte, but 29 does. So, well done, NC-DOT. That is how you favor a route here. And here is where US 64 splits off from 70 and 29 as it's heading west towards Moxville. And this is where US 29 and US 70 merges into Interstate 285 and US Highway 52 here. And this is where Interstate 285 currently ends at this with this shield here, and we're merging into Interstate 85 as well. Here's where US 29 and US 70 splits off from Interstate 85 and US 52, as we're now getting signed for Spencer. I mean, that's an alright choice, as I'm Well, looks like they're signing Salisbury for 52. Here in Salisbury, though, we're meeting with the US 601, and we are going to be concurrent with that as we head towards Statesville and Knoxville. And here's where we split off from US 601, as we're now getting signed for Statesville. Our next mileage time, we get Hickory now as our primary from 43 miles away, which definitely is the correct choice, NC. Well done there. Here you are meeting with Interstate 77 on the outskirts of Statesville, and I cannot find the control cities for 77, or at least here for both shields. They're probably at separate interchanges. Here we are meeting with US Highway 21 and North Carolina Highway 115 here on the outskirts of Statesville. And then still in the Statesville area, we're meeting with US Highway 64 for another time. And 70 is now going to be heading west towards other mountain cities. But here in Conover on North Carolina 16, we're getting signed for Conover. What's happened to Hickory and NC? Why in the world are you signing Conover? NC, you were doing so well. But here in Hickory, we're meeting with US Highway 321 here. And let us see what we're signed for on 321. Hildebrand. What? I've never heard of this place in North Carolina. So, why in the world are you signing it, NC? That should be Morganton, not Hildebrand. No one's heard of Hildebrand. And I'm pretty sure Hildebrand has a significantly less population than Morganton. So sign Morganton, NC. Why did you do this? Again, you were doing so well up until this point. Anyways, here in the Morganton area, we're meeting with North Carolina Highway 18 here, and we're going to be concurrent with it as we head towards US 64. We are meeting with US Highway 64, and we are going to be concurrent with it as we head around the city of Morganton. Here is where we split off from US Highway 64, as 70 is now going to be heading towards Marion. Next mileage time, we get Marion as our only sign from 5 miles away. Personally, I'd also like to see maybe something else here too, like Black Mountain or something. In Marion, we're meeting with US 221 here, and it will take you over to Interstate 40. And here in the Old Fort area, we're merging into Interstate 40, and we're going to be concurrent with it as we head towards Asheville and Black Mountain. Here is where we split off from Interstate 40 as we're getting signed for Black Mountain, which definitely is the correct choice. And then on our way to Asheville, we actually pass under the Blue Ridge Parkway, and let's see what we're signed for on the parkway. Hey, we're getting signed for Asheville, which definitely is a good choice. On the outskirts of Asheville, we're meeting with Interstate 240 here, and man, that 240 shield is like the tiniest shield I've ever seen. Plus it has no control city for some reason. Meanwhile, we're getting the Kentucky treatment, which makes sense because we're about to enter in downtown Asheville. And I forgot to show this on eastbound US 70, but US 70 here actually goes through a tunnel in the city of Asheville for some weird reason. It's just very interesting. But on the other side of the tunnel, we are greeted with the most beautiful scenery, or the awesome view of the city of Asheville. This looks absolutely stunning. It all comes to an end when we meet Interstate 240 here, as it's being signed for Canton and Oteen. I have never heard of Oteen, North Carolina, so I looked it up, and guess what it is? It's a neighborhood! So NC is signing a neighborhood on Interstate 240. I do not agree with that choice. That should be 40's eastbound control, not a neighborhood. Here you are meeting with US Highway 25 in the heart of Asheville. And we're now meeting with 19 and 23 as you're being concurrent with it, along with future Interstate 26 signed for Weaverville. No, that should be Johnson City, please and thank you. Here you are joining with US Highway 25 as we're now getting signed for Marshall. It's an alright choice. It's pretty sizable in western North Carolina. For next mileage time, we get Marshall on the top line and Hot Springs. That's literally the last town in North Carolina. If you want to find something beyond Marshall, how about either Newport or Knoxville? No need for Hot Springs. But hey, you listen to me, NC Dot. So this is a rare W here as we're getting signed for Knoxville and Hot Springs. And we split off from North Carolina 208 here. In our next mileage sign, we do get Knoxville as our primary from 77 miles away. And we're now entering into the state of Tennessee. Let us see what Tennessee has to offer for US 70. Our first mileage time, we get Knoxville as our primary from 66 miles away. And here in downtown Newport, we're meeting with US Highway 321 here. And on the outskirts of Newport, US 25 is splitting off into an east route and a west route. And hey, US 70, take notes here, because when you split into 2 routes, you only have 2 routes, not 3. Here we are meeting with US Highway 411 here. And come on, T-Dot, why in the world did you make this error? Not only did you downgrade US 70 from a US highway to a secondary state highway, but this is just totally funny. Anyways, here in the outskirts of Knoxville, we're meeting with US Highway 11E here, and we're going to be concurrent with it as we head towards downtown Knoxville. And I'm going to be skipping this concurrency because I already covered it in the 11 videos, and if you want to see that, it's in the top right corner here. On the other side of Knoxville, US 11 proper is splitting off from us as we're now getting signed for Kingston. In our next mileage time, we get Kingston as our only one-liner from 19 miles away. I mean, I prefer to see maybe Rockwood here too. And on our way to Kingston, we're meeting with US 321 for another time. But guess what this US 321 is, hey, I know this highway. US Highway 321 is a 517-mile highway, and it kind of looks like a huge staff as it runs from Hardeeville, South Carolina, all the way up to near Lenoir City, Tennessee. It is a child route of US Highway 21 and is one of 4 children. The other children do include 221, 421, and 521. Some of the highways that US 321 meets is US 70, US 19W, Interstate 40, Interstate 75, and many others. In fact, it meets US Highway 70 many times, as we just saw earlier. US 321 is the second shortest child of US 21, though it also does go through some nice scenery in the Appalachian Mountains here. That's a little bit about US Highway 321, and let us get back to US Highway 70. Anyways, here in Kingston, we're meeting with Tennessee 58 here, and we're now getting signed for Rockwood, which is a good choice. Here in Rockwood, we're meeting with US Highway 70, and yes, I have been on US Highway 70, but not in the Rockwood area, it's down in Chattanooga. And here's where we split off from US Highway 27 as we're getting signed for Crossville now. Here in Crossville, we're meeting with US Highway 127 here, and we're going to be heading towards US 70 in and Sparta. And after meeting US 127 here in Crossville, we're now meeting with one of our split routes, US Highway 70 in. And it looks like here that we don't have any control cities for 70 proper, so we'll have to take a look on 70 in. And it looks like we're now getting signed for Sparta, which is an alright choice. It's one of the bigger towns that we pass through on our way to Nashville, and it's where we meet US 70S along with Tennessee Highway 111. And also, since Chuck Slezak didn't really get to request anything on 70N last week, I'm letting him request his stuff for 70N in this video. So for his first 2 requests, he's wanting to see Tennessee 136 in downtown Cookeville, and then he also wanted to see exit 300 and 301 on Interstate 40, where 70N is getting signed for Monterey, which is, he said, is kind of like the Lyman of Tennessee. He also wanted to see exit 290 off of Interstate 40, as he uses this exit to visit his aunt's house. And then finally, he wanted to see the Winona Motel because he stayed there a few times when he ever went to Goodville. So thanks for these cool requests. Here in Sparta, we meet with the other split route of ours, US Highway 70S here, along with Tennessee Highway 111. And let us see what we're signed for now in Sparta. It looks like we're being signed for Smithville, which is an alright choice. We need a couple of state routes there. Also, it is exactly the same size as Sparta, so that is a good choice. And also, Tennessee 111 was requested by Chuck Slezak, as it will take you up to Cookville from here, so thanks for the request. But here at this random junction in the middle of nowhere, we're now getting signed for Lebanon, which is an awesome choice. But when we meet Tennessee Highway 53, of course we're not getting signed for Watertown. No! What happened to Lebanon? Lebanon is significantly larger than Watertown, G-Dot. Why does Tennessee 53 have to be so hard on us? And then here in Watertown, we're now getting signed for Lebanon once again. And I said that Alexandria was a good choice on eastbound a couple weeks ago. Well, I take that back because it is not. It only has like 300 people. Anyways, here in the Lebanon area, we're meeting with Interstate 40 once again, as it's getting signed for Nashville and Knoxville. And here we meet the western terminus of 70 here in Lebanon. We also meet with US Highway 231 here, and 70 is now going to be continuing west towards Mount Juliet and Nashville. We are meeting with Tennessee Highway 109 once again, as we're now getting signed west for Mount Juliet. I mean, that's an alright choice because the faster way to Nashville from here is actually to get on Tennessee 109 and take it to Interstate 40. So yeah, they're definitely making the correct choice here. Hey guys, look, it's a Sonic reference. I can't believe that there's an actual town here in Tennessee called Green Hill. This is totally cool. And here in downtown Nashville, we get to see a perfect view of the team that's going to be picking first in the 2025 NFL Draft, the Tennessee Titans Stadium. And then here in downtown, we're meeting with US 70S and US 431. And don't be fooled, this is not the western terminus of 70S. This is actually where 70S becomes concurrent with US Highway 70. And this is where US 70S and US 431 splits off from us, as 70 is now going to be continuing west towards Dixon. Here we are on the outskirts of Nashville, and we're meeting with Interstate 40. No surprise there. And here we are meeting with the western terminus of 70S, as we're now getting signed for Dixon, which definitely is the correct choice. But I decided to jump ahead to Camden, as there is no signage in Dixon. And we're now getting signed west for Brewston and Huntingdon. Huntingdon's an alright choice, as it's a growing town, but why in the world is Brewston signed there? If you want to have something else besides Huntington, I'll do Huntington and Jackson. No need for that Brewston. Here I'm meeting with US Highway 641 here, and it'll take you over to Interstate 40. In our next mileage sign, we get Huntingdon as our primary from 17 miles away. I mean, I'd also like to see Jackson here, please, T-Dot. Why do you have this mileage sign? Anyways, here we are meeting Tennessee Highway 22 in Huntingdon, and we're now being signed for Jackson, which is definitely the correct choice. And here we are meeting with US Highway 412, as we're still getting signed for Jackson. In fact, we get a one-liner here with just Jackson from 6 miles away. Again, maybe I'd like to see Brownsville here too, or maybe Memphis. Here in downtown Jackson, we're meeting with US Highway 45 here. And then our next mileage time, we do get both Brownsville and Memphis. Wow, this is an actual rare T.W, as they're signing Memphis from 80 miles away. Here are meeting US Highway 79, and US 79 was actually requested by Russ K. He wanted to see US 79 as he used this route to get to Clarksville, Tennessee. So thank you for that request. Also, we can see that we're not getting signed for Somerville. What? I thought we were getting signed for Memphis. Why? What happened in Memphis? Oh, this is the reason why we're being signed for Somerville, because of Tennessee 76. T-Dot, why did you bring your G-Dot out? No, we should not be favoring state routes. We should be signing Memphis. Anyways, on the outskirts of Memphis, we're meeting with Tennessee Highway 385, which will take you over to Interstate 269 here. And here we are meeting with US Highway 64. And like the 11 concurrency, I'm actually going to be skipping this concurrency because it's now become too complicated to see how the routes go through Memphis. So you can see the older version in the top right corner here in the 64 videos. Anyways, we now are joining Interstate 55, and we get a mileage sign here with West Memphis on the top line and St. Louis as 55's primary from 282 miles away. This is totally awesome. And we're now entering into the state of Arkansas. Oh boy. Here's where 70 splits off from Interstate 55 and 40 as we just get the Kentucky treatment, but which makes sense because we're about to head into downtown West Memphis. Here is downtown West Memphis once again, and this is probably the last time we'll be seeing it. Unless if I do like a Arkansas 77 video or 138 video. On the outskirts of West Memphis, we get a mileage sign with Forest City as our primary from 36 miles away, which I think is the correct choice because Forest City is actually a pretty big city. Here we are meeting with US Highway 79 once again, and this time it is splitting off from us as it heads south. Our next mileage sign we get Brinkley. Brinkley is significantly smaller than Forest City. Why not just have a one-liner here for Forest City? That makes much more sense. Anyways, here in Forest City, we're meeting with Arkansas Highway 1 here, which will take you over to Interstate 40. Our next mileage sign we now get Wheatley on the top line and Brinkley still. I mean, Brinkley is alright choice because we just passed Forest City. But personally, I would also like to see something beyond Brinkley. But guess what? Wheatley comes back, and this is the part where he signs Little Rock, so this is a totally awesome thing here. And here in Brinkley, we're meeting with US Highway 49, as we're now be concurrent with it as we head through the town. And here's where we split off from US 49, and let us see what this mileage sign says right here. Are you kidding me? Of course, we get the Arkansas way. We're now getting Junction US 63 as our primary from only 22 miles away. So, did they not want to sign anything beyond 22 miles away? Because apparently so. And then under next town, we're now getting Carlisle as our primary from 16 miles away. Come on. Here you are meeting with US Highway 63 as it's in sign for Hazen, Desark, and 63 South is for Stuttgart. And this has got to be one of the stupidest mileage signs here in Arkansas. We have Junction US 63 North on the top line from 1 mile away. When we have a shield right here for 263 North. Put Carlisle on the top line and then have Little Rock or something else be here. Not this mileage sign. Why Arkansas? Why do you do this? Ugh. And then our next mileage sign, we get another junction route along with Lanoke as our bottom line. There should be a Lanoke in like North Little Rock or Little Rock proper. No need for the junction routes. Anyways, finally in the Lanoke, we get North Little Rock on the top line and Little Rock proper as our primary from 24 miles away. In North Little Rock, we're meeting with Interstate 440 as it will take you over to Interstate 40. And here we meet with US Highway 165 as it will split off from us to head southeast. And here we meet with Interstate 30. And no, US 70 is not concurrent with Interstate 30 here. It actually does go through downtown Little Rock. It's just I forgot to look for it on eastbound 70. So, hey, going westbound, we are going to get to see downtown Little Rock. And here's an awesome view of downtown Little Rock as we're crossing over, I think, the Arkansas River. And here's some more cool scenery of downtown Little Rock. And still in downtown, we're actually meeting with Interstate 630 here, and sadly we do not have any control cities. And then on the outskirts of Little Rock, we just get a junction I-430 from 2 miles away. Why not sign Hot Springs, because that's our next major town. Or I don't know, sign Dallas or Texarkana because we're about to join with 30 as well. Here we are joining with Interstate 430, and we're going to be joining 430 South as we head towards Interstate 30. And here's where we're going to be joining with Interstate 30 West as we head towards Texarkana. Here's where we split off from Interstate 30 as we're now getting signed west for Hot Springs, which is definitely the correct choice. And here on 70, we just get a Hot Springs National Park one-liner for some reason. Here in Hot Springs, we're now meeting with 270 along with Arkansas Highway 5, as we're now getting signed for Glenwood. On our way toward Glenwood, we meet with our only child route, US Highway 270 here, as it's being signed Malvern Avenue. And this is where US 70 splits off from US 270, and we just get the Kentucky treatment. On the bottom of the ramp, we do get Glenwood as our next primary. In fact, on our next mallet chime, we do get Glenwood from 28 miles away. Here in Glenwood, we're now getting signed for DeQueen, which definitely is the correct choice, because that's basically the next major town we'll be passing through here in western Arkansas. The next mallet chime, we get Kirby on the top line, where it belongs, and DeQueen as our primary from 51. In Kirby, we get another state park sign, and this one is called Daisy State Park. So Princess Daisy has her own state park here in Arkansas. That's pretty cool. Here we are, after passing through Kirby, we get a regular mileage sign this time with New Hope on the top line and DeQueen as our primary from 37. Here you're meeting with US Highway 278, and it's getting signed for Umpire and Wicks, while we're getting signed for Derrick's? I don't know. Here in that weird town, we're splitting off from 278 as US 70 is now still heading towards the Queen. Here are meeting with US Highway 71 now, as we're now getting signed for DeQueen still. Here in DeQueen, US 71 and 59 splits off from us, as 70 is now heading west towards Oklahoma. In our next mallet chime, we get 2 Oklahoma towns. Wow, this is totally awesome by Arkansas. And Hugo is definitely the correct choice because it is a pretty big city and it's where we meet 271 in the Indian Nation Turnpike. Well done, Arkansas. And we're now entering into the state of Oklahoma. Oh boy. And here in Oklahoma, we're meeting with US Highway 259 and Oklahoma 3, and we're now heading towards Idabel. And then our next mallet chime, we get Haworth as our primary from 19 miles away. What's happened to Hugo? Where did Hugo go, Oklahoma? Anyways, here in Idabel, we split off from US Highway 259 as US 70 is now heading towards Hugo. And in fact, on our next mallet chime, we do get Hugo on the bottom one at 45 miles away. And here in Hugo, we're meeting with US Highway 271, and US 271 was actually requested by AR Nathan. He wanted to see this highway because, well, he did a video on it, and it is a pretty cool video. I recommend checking it out in the top right corner here. So thanks for the request. Here we are meeting the Indian Nation Turnpike as it's called Oklahoma 375. I mean, personally, I like to see it as Oklahoma 340 because it does meet Interstate 40, and it's more like a spur route. While we're getting signed west for Durant and Antlers, which are good choices. Here we split off from, here's where US 271 splits off from us as it heads west towards Antlers. And the next mallet chime, we do get Durant as our primary from 45 miles away. So I see Oklahoma has done pretty well besides that one Haworth. Here in Durant, we're meeting with US 69 and US 75 as they're getting signed north for Durant. By the time we get Medill, I mean, prefer to see Ardmore because I think Ardmore is bigger than Medill, but Medill is where we meet US 377, so it makes sense. Here in Medill, we're meeting with US 377, and we are going to be concurrent with it as we head towards downtown. And this is where 377 and Oklahoma 99 splits off from US 70. Here are meeting with US 177 as you're now getting signed for Oakland and Ardmore. I mean, technically this probably might be the fastest way to Oakland, California, but I don't think Oklahoma is talking about that. I think they're just talking about Oakland, Oklahoma. Here in the Ardmore area, we're meeting with US Highway 77, and we now just get Interstate 35 junction. I don't know about that. But here you are meeting with Interstate 35 as we're now getting signed for Oklahoma City, which definitely is the correct choice. Here is where we split off from Interstate 35 as we're now getting signed for Lone Grove and Waukeera. Okay, I do have a bit of a dilemma about Waukeera. Sure, Waukeera is a small town, but it's also the biggest town west of Lone Grove, so... And plus, I think Vernon is kind of too far away to sign from here, as all of 70 isn't the fastest way. The fastest way to Vernon from here will be taking 70 to 44, so... I don't know about Waukeera. Again, just tell me in the comments section below to see what you think 70 West should be signed west of Lone Grove. In the Lone Grove area, we're now getting another mileage time with Waukeera as our primary from 29 miles away. And here in Waukeera, we're meeting with US 81, and who in the world is Ryan and Duncan? And why are they the controls for US 81? Our next mileage time, we get Grandfield as our primary. What? That's a really small town. I mean, you could probably start signing Vernon from here because that's the next major city we're going to be passing through, and plus it's in Texas. The Randlet area, we're meeting with US 277 and US 281, and these two highways are going to be concurrent with us as we head towards Interstate 44. And here we are meeting Interstate 44 in Randlet, Oklahoma, and it looks like that Oklahoma is just telling us that Interstate 44 is going to become the H.E. Bailey Turnpike. No, I want to see an actual control city for Interstate 44, not just telling us that'll become a turnpike. And let us see what we're signing for at 44 West, because it looks like there's no information here. Oklahoma. Can I ask you something? Why in the world is 44 being signed for both Wichita Falls and Burke Burnett? We already have our next good control city on this sign here. Wichita Falls. We do not need Burke Burnett. Also, you should follow NCDOT and put like a 70 shield here with not Grandfield, Vernon. We do not need to know about Grandfield. Grandfield is only like 900 people. Our next major town that we're going to be going through is Vernon, Texas. Why can't you sign Vernon, Texas? And also, throw away that Burke Burnett. It does not need to be on there. Ugh. And to make it even worse, Grandfield is on the top line of our next mileage time. We get Davidson, which is even worse. Davidson only has 240 people. Yes, I know we meet US 183 there, but we should be seeing Vernon. Vernon is a lot larger than Davidson. Stop being provincial Oklahoma. And to even make it even worse, our next mileage time we get US 183 on the top line with still Davidson as our primary. Sign Vernon. Vernon, Texas. Vernon, Texas, Oklahoma. I do not want to see Davidson. You're driving me up the wall with Davidson. Ugh. Here we are joining with US 183 here, and we're going to be concurrent with it as we head towards Vernon. And our last mileage sign in the state of Oklahoma, we do get Vernon as a one-liner here from 19 miles away. Good job, Oklahoma, after that horrible stretch you just had. Here we are crossing over the Red River and into the state of Texas. You know what it's time for? It's Texas time once again. Anyways, here in Texas, we're meeting with US 287 and 283 here, as we're now be heading towards Vernon. And this is where 183 and 283 splits off from 287 and 70, as they're getting signed for Seymour and Altus. And here we split off from US Highway 287, and we're now getting signed for Plainview, which I think is definitely the correct choice. But when we get another mileage sign, we get Paducah now as our primary from 59 miles away. Come on, Texas, why are you being inconsistent? Here in Crowell, we're meeting with Texas Highway 6 here in the small town of Crowell. Our next mileage sign, now we're getting Matador as our primary. What? Again, what's happened to Plainview? We should be signing Plainview, Texas. Here we are meeting with US 83 and US 62 in Paducah, and we are going to be concurrent with it as we head towards Plainview. For our next mileage sign, now we get Floyada as our primary from 63 miles away. Yes, I kinda get that Floyada is where 62 and 70 split. But you know what this should be? This should definitely be a 3-liner here with Floyada on the top line, and then having Lubbock and Plainview for both 70 and 62. No need for Floyada as our primary. But after going through Matador, we get another mileage sign, and Plainview finally comes back. Where have you been, my friend? I was getting worried. Here in Floyada, we split off from US Highway 62, as 62 will be heading toward Lubbock, and we're going to be heading towards Plainview. Here in the Plainview area, we're meeting with Interstate 27, as it's also getting signed for Lubbock. And let's see what we're signed for on Interstate 27 for our next control city. What? Why in the world are we getting signed for nothing? TxDOT, why do you have nothing on US Highway 70? Do you think nothing else exists on US 70? There are still other towns that US 70 goes through. How about Clovis, New Mexico? Clovis is our next major city. Sign Clovis. For our next mileage time, we get Muleshoe as our primary from 57 miles away. I do not like to see that. Anyways, on our way to Muleshoe, we'll meet with US 385 in the middle of nowhere, as it's getting signed for Littlefield and Dimmitt. In our next mileage time, we still get Muleshoe as our primary. Now from this point, you should start signing Clovis. Anyways, here in Muleshoe, we're meeting with US 84, and we're going to become concurrent with it as we head towards Clovis, but let us see what we're signing for on Texas 214, because guess what? TxDOT does not give us any information on either 84 East or 70 West. So we have to look on Texas 214 once again. And we're getting signed for Farwell. That is literally the last town in Texas, so Texas for some reason is being provincial here. This has got to be one of the stupidest mileage signs ever. We get Farwell as our primary from only 20 miles away. I can't believe that Texas is literally stooping down to both PennDOT and NCDOT's level and is being really provincial. Also, do you want to know what Lorate is? It basically doesn't exist. Texas is just trying to sign as much Texas as they can before we're out of the state. No, you should not avoid signing Clovis. Clovis should be on this mileage sign, Texas. Sign Clovis, New Mexico. No need for Lorate, which is practically nothing. It's like Kirby. It should not be on here. Sign Clovis. Anyways, here in Farwell / Texaco, we're meeting with US Highway 60, and we're going to be concurrent with it as we head towards Clovis. Anyways, on the other side, we're now entering into the state of New Mexico, along with the town of Texaco. Welcome to Texaco, New Mexico. That is one mouthful to say. Here is where US 70 splits off from US 60 and 84 here, as 70 will now be heading towards Roswell. Our next mileage sign, actually this is in Portales, we get Roswell as our primary from 92 miles away. And here in Roswell, we're actually meeting with 285, and this exiting style system reminds me of the one on US 40 in Pennsylvania, where they also use the exit A and B for Pennsylvania 43, so yeah, this is pretty weird. Anyways, Still in Roswell, we're actually meeting with 380 as well, and we become concurrent with it as we head towards Ruidoso. Here's where 380 splits off from US Highway 70, as we're now still getting signed for Ruidoso. In fact, we get Ruidoso as our primary still up from 26 miles away. And I prefer seeing now Alamogordo because we are getting closer to there, but Ruidoso is still pretty a sizable town. But here in Ruidoso, we get another mileage sign and we get Alamogordo as our primary from 46 miles away. Well done, New Mexico. Here in Tula Rosa, we're meeting with US 54, and we are going to be concurrent with it as we head towards Alamogordo. Here we are in Alamogordo, meeting with US 82, and 54 and 70 are going to be heading toward both Las Cruces and El Paso, which are awesome choices. Here's where 54 splits off from US Highway 70, as we're getting signed for Las Cruces, while 54 is getting signed for El Paso. On our way to Las Cruces, we actually passed by the White Sands National Park once again, and I definitely want to check this place out someday. You're arming with Interstate 25, and like going eastbound, it has awesome control cities, and we're now getting signed west for Las Cruces. And after meeting Interstate 25, here we get another mileage sign. We get Deming on the top line 61 miles away and Lordsburg as our primary from 121. And personally, I'd also like to see maybe something on Interstate 10, like either Tucson or Phoenix, because we are about to merge into Interstate 10 and be concurrent with it for like the majority of the highway here in New Mexico. But once we get to Interstate 10 ourselves, we get 10 East signed for El Paso, which definitely is the correct choice. No need for that Las Cruces down here. And then westbound is a different story. Westbound is basically the Oklahoma situation, but in reverse. We get Arizona on the road here, while we get the bad control city on the overhead. No, we should have this Arizona on the overhead here. We do not need Deming. Deming is a really small town here in New Mexico. Yes, I get that we need US 180 there, or 180 splits off from us, but it's too small. It's way smaller compared to anything in Arizona. So New Mexico, put this Arizona on this sign. No need for Deming. And then to make things even worse, we get Lordsburg now as our primary from 107 miles away. Now they're just favoring US 70. No, that should be Tucson or Phoenix, not Lordsburg. Again, Lordsburg is ridiculously small compared to Tucson or Phoenix. But luckily on our next mileage sign here in Deming, we do get Tucson as our primary from 212 miles away. Good job, New Mexico, finally. Here in Lordsburg, we split off from Interstate 10, and sadly does not have any control city. And we just get East Motel Drive. Interesting. But in Lordsburg, we do get a control city of Globe and Silver City. So we're jumping over Safford and heading straight for Globe. Also, why in the world is Douglas for Interstate 10? Why is New Mexico favoring Arizona Highway 80? That should be Tucson and Phoenix, not Douglas. Our next mileage sign and our final mileage sign in New Mexico, we do get Globe as our primary from 153 miles away. Well done, New Mexico. And finally, we are entering into our last state, the state of Arizona, which is the king of control city signage. Because here at US 191, we are getting signed for Safford and Phoenix, which is just wonderful. In our next mileage sign, we do get Phoenix as our primary from 175 miles away. Even though US 70 doesn't go to Phoenix, we do meet US 60 there that does go to Phoenix. Here is where US 191 splits off from US Highway 70, and you can actually see in the distance that we're still getting signed for Phoenix, along with Globe. And then jumping ahead to Arizona 77, where we just get Globe. Sadly, no Phoenix, but it's alright. Arizona is still the king. But we do get Tucson for Arizona 77 South, which is awesome. And then our final mileage sign of the video, we get Phoenix as our primary from 91 miles away, which is awesome by Arizona. And this is the ending to US Highway 70. As we can see, there's an N70 shield and 60, and we're going to be merging into 60 as we're now getting signed west for Globe and Phoenix. So with that, we do end US 70 and move on to the way it should be. So these are what I think are all the places that should be signed on US Highway 70. Again, if you have any changes, please let me know down in the comment section below, and I'd love to debate you on this entire list for both directions. And that ends US Highway 70. Thank you all so much for watching this episode on US Highway 70 westbound. I hope you got to learn a little bit more about the highway going westbound on 70, and I hope you see how bad silently it is going westbound compared to eastbound. Anyways, here are my next few highways. If you have any requests for any of these upcoming highways, please let me know down in the comment section below. I'll make sure to shout you out when these videos release. And I'll also be posting community posts about these. So thank you guys for watching, and I'll see y'all next week as we do a Texas trip recap.